But it all counts in the end. Is the scoreline at the top. Leicester 1, Liverpool 0 is how it finishes. Let's just take a look at what that means to the table. Manchester City then remain 6 points clear as we're at the halfway stage for them this season of Liverpool and Chelsea, both on 41 points. Steve Nicol, where to go wrong?
In the final third. I don't think anybody can argue with that. You know, I was laughing with you a lot earlier. You know, Klopp and Van Dijk were asked, did Leicester deserve to win? And they both said yes. And I couldn't actually believe they said that. You know, come on. I think, no question, Leicester deserve a lot of praise. They showed a lot of heart. Listen, when you get the goal as well, it gives you something to grab onto, determination, sticking together, all of those cliches. They absolutely deserve a lot of praise for that. But the truth is, Liverpool lost this game because in the final third, they couldn't take the chances. I mean, it's really that simple. They give one goal away, one shot on target, and as I said, they then cling on. So, listen, this was all about Liverpool not getting it done in the final third. They were by far the better side. They took the game to Leicester. But, again, Leicester gave every single thing they had, showed a lot of heart, and won the game. I don't think they deserved to win the game. But they ended up getting 3 points.
Nedum, do you agree? Just one of those days for Liverpool in front of goal?
Yeah, I guess so. I think when you see Salah missing penalties, you know, your mind's sort of blown anyway. And then with the Mane chance in the second half as well, I think it is everything that you said there. Like, to see them struggle so much in that final third was a big surprise. You know, even as the game was going on, you're almost expecting them to score with the players that they have on the field. But it just wasn't meant to be today. And as for Leicester, you know, they defended well. But as is the case, you know, you need a bit of luck, and I think they definitely had that today, and some great saves from Kasper Schmeichel. So it's a blow, but I'm pretty sure they'll react off the back of this because they're going to need to if they want to stay in this race.
Yeah, most definitely 6 points separating them. The rhetoric going into this, of course, Jurgen Klopps once again complaining about the fixture congestion. Liverpool hadn't played since the 22nd of December, though. Yeah. Leicester, of course, were in action against City just a couple of days ago.
I'll be honest, I pay less and less attention to Jurgen Klopp when he says that because it seems an annual affair. At this time of year, he's going to complain no matter what. And that's just how it feels. The more surprising to me was Brendan Rodgers complaining. And listen, I understand. Leicester decimated by injuries, COVID affecting their camp, is affecting everybody's, and somehow the computer throws up City and then Liverpool at this most crucial of times. Given what happened against City, this and how you have to adjust, especially your rear guard, you fear the worst. And yet still, Brendan Rodgers comes out taking 3 points. You cannot imagine how proud he feels of his squad because they had every excuse not to win this. But for poor finishing from Liverpool, but for one of the best saves you will see of that Mo Salah half volley from Kasper Schmeichel, this story could have been so different. But you adjust, you plug holes, you ask defensive midfielders to play centre-back, and they put in an absolute shift for all the criticism around maybe how much of the game that Liverpool had and how much more deserving they may have been. You cannot at all criticise Leicester for the work rate that they showed and their determination to hold on to what they had. I thought that was an example to everybody in football.
Does Klopp's rhetoric play any part in this?
No, I've forgotten about it already. I mean, really? You know, now, when you lose a game, it's not, for a start, when you lose a game, that's not when you complain. Once you win, then people will listen to you.
Right.
But don't start moaning. And certainly don't moan when you've had the majority of the game and it's down to your players not producing. That's the truth. But sometimes you just got to take it on the chin.
But to that point, to your question, we always say you give players an excuse to lose, and 9 times out of 10, they're going to take it. But, again, it's Jurgen Klopp we're talking about. And I just feel that everybody's gotten used to Jurgen Klopp complaining.
It's just white noise.
Now it's just, here we go again. He's going to say the same old things. Regardless, whether they're leading at Christmas or they're 10 points back, you know what Jurgen Klopp is going to be saying in December.
Mark, I imagine in the UK, though, there aren't many sympathisers, are there, for Klopp?
Not really, no. I think you have to accept that, you know, everybody faces the same scenario. All 20 teams in the Premier League have got the same issues. They all have to play a lot of games over this period of time. You know, Liverpool had a Carabao Cup tie last week and they rested virtually a full team, so Liverpool haven't played for over a week. So his comments do, strike you as being sour grapes a lot of the time and just looking for excuses. And, Jordan Henderson joined in last week as well, talking about player welfare and playing too many games. But again, it really doesn't kind of get any traction because, footballers have had it, they've not had it easy by any means, but over the last 18 months when a lot of people have struggled, the footballers have been able to get on with the jobs, they've been at the best treatment, best medical treatment, best nutrition, best training, best medical care. Everything is laid on a plate for footballers. So if they're having to play a few more games than they'd like to in December, well, that's how it is. Unfortunately, or rightly or wrongly, that is English football. It is a test of endurance, as the guys will attest. They've all been through it, and you get to this stage of the season, December, January, it's tough. But the teams that have the strongest squads tend to do well, which is why Man City are top, Liverpool are second, and the teams at the bottom are the clubs that haven't really got the deep squad. So I think Jurgen Klopp is probably complaining and moaning because he's looking for one little element that can kind of say, look, we're trying to catch Man City, but we can't. They've got a bigger squad than us, they've got a better squad than us, and we can't rest as many players as they can. But we've heard managers complain about this for years and years now. I think footballers now, they're playing for longer and longer. The careers go on forever. So, no, I don't think people are listening too much to what Klopp says.
Right. Ronnie Moran used to tell us, if it's too much for your son, get yourself down the dole and sign on.
There you go.
And that was the last you heard anything. That was the last you heard anything.
Nedum, it's over, isn't it? City going to be champions again?
Yeah, it's over. Just cancel the season now. There's nothing else to cover. No need for this show anymore. Everything's set. It's all said and done.
Hey, no, we didn't say that.
Come on, you can relax you with these takes of disgrace. These takes are a disgrace. Yeah, obviously you can see why they're favourites. They've won the league last year. They've got a 6-point lead now, and you just have a belief that they'll be able to seal the deal. But we're only halfway there. I think in some ways it will take some sort of mini implosion from them to not win the title. But you've just got to believe in Liverpool and Chelsea and understand that they have enough within their squads to be able to mount some sort of challenge. But it's going to be tougher for them, and it's amazing how quickly the sort of feel for the league can change. Because only maybe a month ago, Chelsea were top. I think Liverpool were second, City were in third, Liverpool were unbeaten. But now you just find yourself in that situation again, which unfortunately for some, they've seen far too often over the last few years, and that City with a sizable gap at the top of the league.
It's a record point that Nedum makes. Obviously, last month we're talking about Chelsea very much in the race, and they've fallen. I suppose the thing that, from a Manchester City perspective, is can they have that sort of meltdown that Chelsea have had?
Well, considering what we're going through right now, then yes. It just takes a couple of players to step out of line, catch COVID and pass it to everybody else, and all of a sudden this could be a whole different picture in 3 or 4 weeks. So yes, that's possible. I mean, they have to be ultra professional, and if they are, you've got to think that this is the only thing that can stop them.
Right.
Because Liverpool and Chelsea play at the weekend. If they draw and City win, we're talking about City having to lose at least 3, and whoever's going to catch them has to stay unbeaten. So it's going to be a huge game. So I think it's the professionalism of Manchester City that's going to decide whether they win it or not, because right now they are in pole position.
And everything we've seen, Shaka, from them would suggest that professionalism is going to continue.
Yeah, listen, there's nothing right now to suggest that City are going to lose this. There's nothing to suggest that the point gap at the top is going to do anything but widen. But when you're in a season for 40 or 44 weeks or however long it is, there's going to be a spell where you struggle to get results. Chelsea have had theirs, maybe we're in the middle of Liverpool's. City hasn't had theirs. And if you're part of that chasing pack, you're just waiting for that to happen. It's regardless of how good City are, it's still a bunch of humans out there. You're still going to have that element. And that's what you're hoping for.
Right.
And that's what you're hoping for to close the gap. Of course, not only, I'm talking about 38 games in the league, the Champions League is still City's holy grail. And once that competition starts rolling on in earnest, if they go a little bit deeper, if some of those injuries and maybe COVID cases hit City at exactly the wrong time, now all of a sudden you have a Chelsea team are defending European champions and really not worried about much else than the league. Similar for Liverpool, they won the Champions League a couple of seasons ago. For them, it's all about the league. For City, the Champions League continues to be priority. If you're in the chasing pack, that's what you're hoping for, because as Nedum says, we're still in December and we're a long way from over.
Problem for Liverpool as well, added to the fact they're 6 points off, is the African Cup of Nations. Mm-hmm. The game against Chelsea will be the last with Salah and with Mane. Yeah,
I mean, and they've known that this was coming along. Mm-hmm. I guess the positive thing is that Firmino's almost 100%, so he'll be able to come in. But no question, your top goal scorer isn't going to be there. Your other player in Manny, who's been struggling, isn't going to be there, who you expect at some stage to start scoring again. So yeah, it's a question. And Liverpool usually come up with an answer. Mr. Origi, who usually appears when things seem lost, is going to have to step into the breach and maybe put his 2 pence in. So yeah, it's a problem, but I think Liverpool will get past it.
You look at those the Premier League matches, I suppose, the focus, Mark, on the graphic that we saw. Brentford and Palace, you would imagine even without Mane and without Salah, Liverpool should still get the job done.
You think so? Liverpool, but they could have had a worse run of fixtures. Chelsea, for instance, they've got Liverpool next and then Man City after the FA Cup. So Chelsea got a tough run, but I think Liverpool, they need to cling on really. I think City will win it quite easily. I know Nedum is probably saying the sensible thing, but I think the 6 points clear right now. And I think City is so far ahead of the rest in terms of depth, experience. They just grind results out, and they're so ruthless that I don't see them dropping many points. I think unfortunately for Liverpool, are playing for second, and I think as great a team as they are, and they are a great team, they're a more exciting team to watch than Liverpool, than Man City. But I just think that the City is so good. I think City will win it by 10 points again.
Leicester did City a favour, sticking 3 past them, because it's very easy when you're just going along, winning game after game, not losing goals, everything's rosy in the garden, and sometimes you maybe let it slip. Right. But the fact that they lost 3 against Leicester will be fantastic for the coaching staff, because they go, right, I think we need a little refresher the next couple of weeks on the training field, which is bad news for everybody else chasing them.
A word on Leicester, of course, came into this game off the back, as you mentioned, of that 6-3 defeat against City. A horrible run of form. Testament to their character, testament to Rodgers, I suppose, Nathan, they can get the win today.
Yeah, 100%. I think as Shaka was saying a bit earlier, I thought it was a great sort of defensive and solid performance by them overall, especially given the fact, they just conceded 6 just a couple of days ago. They had every reason to be tired. Liverpool hadn't played on the weekend and all this, and you're sort of hoping that, that maybe they can get something from the game. But I think from after that penalty was saved, felt like the energy kind of changed in the stadium. I thought the fans were fantastic. I thought to a man they defended really well. They showed a great level of commitment, and you could see they were the walking wounded out there. By the end of the game, you could see Vardy couldn't really run anymore. There were certain people in midfield who were struggling, but it was a very, very promising performance for them. And I think that win could go a long, long way. And we could talk about whether they deserved it or they didn't. But the fact is, they worked exceptionally hard, and they were given a reward in beating Liverpool. And from there, you're thinking for them, what sort of boost of confidence could that give you? You scored 3 against City, obviously you've lost, but then you've gone and beaten Liverpool at home. The crowd was rocking. Maybe the second half of the season will be a lot better than the first, and for them, they can start looking up the table.
Mark, where do we stand on Brendan Rodgers? Obviously, at the start of the season, linked to Spurs and then Manchester United, but it hasn't been the best of campaign, has it, for Leicester so far? Where is his stock at the moment?
Yeah, ever since he was linked with the United job probably 6-7 weeks ago, he's had a really bad run of results and injuries. But I think we have to kind of look at where Leicester are. Johnny Evans has been injured for a long spell this year. They've missed Fofana all season. James Justin isn't fit yet. They've lost Tielemans at times this season. Leicester don't have the resources that the big clubs have, and to keep them where they are, just outside the top 6, I think is an achievement. I do think Brendan's a good manager. I think that he would be a good fit at a Tottenham, at a Man United, if they ever came up in the future. Maybe his stock is taking a bit of a denting because of the recent results, but considering where he is and what he's done at Leicester, I still think he's a top manager. I think tonight is just proof that he can get a team to play to a top level against a very good team like Liverpool. So, Brendan Rodgers is still a good manager. I think the recent run is probably a test and a challenge, but, this result against Liverpool has shown he can come through it.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.